Hello, everyone. JC Coffey here with 411 Business. And I have George Dubec with the Founders League. And we are introducing the most amazing podcast that has ever been thought of. George, tell about it.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for having me on the show. We're very excited. This is the first introduction of the Founders League's podcast called Just the Facts. You remember Dick Tracy?
Yes, I remember Dick Tracy.
You're too young for Dick Tracy.
I
Dick
remember.
Tracy was he would always say, just the facts, ma'am.
Sounds like someone else I know. He says
okay,
that.
Well, anyway, we're done with all the BS, the lying, the gaslighting, all the things that go on in our society. And from now on, what we want to do is operate a more sophisticated, professional group of people. And hopefully this will emulate to society in general. But we want just the facts. No opinions, no suggestions, no ideas, no advice, just the facts, and then translate it and manipulate it to your own advantage. But you got to start with the basics, the facts. And that's what our podcast is going to be all about. Now, we want our audience to understand the most important key performance indicators that affect all of our lives.
Which are?
Now, as we went through the last election, all they ever talked about was the inflation rate and how many illegal aliens were coming across the border. But they only gave numbers, okay? And listen, Joanne, I have asked over 100 people since the election if they know how the inflation rate and the unemployment rate are calculated, and nobody seems to know. Everybody guesses or they think they know. So what we're going to do is show people and teach people what these key performance indicators, how they're calculated, and what is a good key performance indicator level and what's a bad one. And
okay, yes, George. So some of the key performance indicators that I'm super interested in, and I feel like a lot of people will be interested in, is, Bitcoin.
Well, of course, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, most people don't know much about it.
Well, I mean, just how Bitcoin went overnight from 53 to 100,000.
I know, it's crazy.
And what does it mean? And how do I even, it's funny because it's like when I talk to people, they're like, well, I would like one, but I don't even know how to even
like one. Yeah, right.
Like, how do I? And then even like for me, I've noticed lately, I had the hardest time buying a Bitcoin. It was like, my bank didn't want to release my money. They kept making it, marking it as fraud. I'm telling them it's not fraud. I'm verifying myself, and they're still keeping me from buying Bitcoin with my own money. It's like the most insane thing I've ever seen. Have you had any problems like that, George?
Well, I know that so many people are very confused about the wallets you have to use to transfer cash and your cryptocurrency. And I mean, all these things we're going to talk about in Just the Facts. We're going to show people what it means and how these things relate to the general public and how it relates to your life. Now, let me just go through some of these other ones here. How about health and fitness, the cancer rate, heart attack rate, stroke rate, dementia and Alzheimer's rate? These are personal for people. They don't really know which are the most, which disease is affecting us the most. Even like when COVID came, remember COVID? They had all these different numbers. Nobody knew what was going on. How many people are dying? How many people are sick? How many people have COVID? How many have the flu? And all of the news and the media were just a big bunch of jargon that nobody could understand what was going on. So we're going to say, for example, if we're going through a pandemic, we're going to provide just the facts and how they relate to all of us. That's all I want to do. I don't want to talk about opinions and who's right or who's wrong or who did the, who's creating problems. We just want the facts, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Just the facts. No opinions. I love it.
Yeah. Now here's a couple other ones. Consumer spending, consumer price index. How about how much of college debt is there in this country? Does anybody know? How about the average wage rates? We all know, like, for example, most people don't even know what the standard of living is anymore. Construction spending, the cost of living, top financial holdings in the world.
For me, George, I want to know why I send my children, all 14 of them, to school for 5 days a week, 8 hours a day for 13 years. But when they get out of school, they don't know what an LLC is. They don't know what a C Corp, what an S Corp. They don't know about how to start a company. They don't know about investing. They don't know about the difference between an asset and a liability. These are the topics that I'm mind boggled by the lack of financial literacy that our children are taught in school when we send them for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. Listen, Joanne, I talked to my grandson and my granddaughter. My grandson was magna cum laude from Purdue University. My granddaughter's graduating from Trine University, straight A student. And I asked them both, how do you calculate the national debt and how do you calculate the inflation rate? Neither one of them knew. And I asked them, do any of your friends, you think they would know? And so they asked their friends. Nobody in college knew those two most important things. Those are just basic things that every citizen should know. Okay. And you're talking about financial knowledge, about all kinds of things, insurance. How about, what is insurance all about? What about life insurance, health insurance? I mean, things that people got to deal with, and our kids don't have a clue. So, you're right on the button with that.
Yeah,
and
because
also we have all the social key performance indicators, like how many illegal aliens do we have in the USA? You know what the veteran suicide rate is in today's world? 22 veterans a day are committing suicide. Do you think the average citizen knows that? No.
Well, it's just, again, when you know better, you do better. And so
Exactly.
I love that we are here to provide the resources, right?
Hey, listen, can I use that phrase?
Mhm.
Say that again.
When you know better, you do better.
All right.
Absolutely. I say that all the time to my kids.
I think that I got to write that down. Let me write that down.
It's so true, because we are in a society where we are programmed, and 95% of everything we do is a subconscious program that we were taught. But I'm super excited about the 5% of cognitive ability that we have, if used properly, can reprogram our programming.
Well, that's listen. What we're doing, Joanne, is we're creating a movement. Okay, it's called the Founders League, and again, most people have no idea how to calculate the key performance indicators, and they don't understand how they affect their lives. And we're developing and establishing the Ultimate Founders League, which is the best of the best minds in this country. We're going to pull them together. We're going to find them. We're going to write down all the issues affecting our lives, and then we're going to come up with solutions. How about that?
That sounds amazing. I absolutely love it.
So, in fact, we're going to have you in our, listen, Joanne, we're going to have you in our Founders League. How's that?
Oh, I know. I would expect nothing but that.
Right. So we're going to have all ages. We're going to have college students. We're going to have senior citizens. We're going to have middle-aged people, people in families. And what we're doing with this movement now, wait till you hear this. Okay, our goal is to use our podcast called Just the Facts. That's the name of the podcast, Just the Facts, like Dick Tracy. Just the Facts, ma'am.
Yep.
Okay, and we're going to get started on our path to make America better. Okay, America is already great, right?
Yes.
You think America is great?
I think it's great compared to the other places. So when people think that America is horrible, it's just their lack of information. Because if they were to go to third world countries and see, they would know that America is phenomenal.
Right. And as we know, Joanne, the politicians want to create a problem in our mind so that we look to them to solve the problems, right?
Yes.
But what I want to do is I want the people to solve the problems. I don't want politicians. I don't want rich people. I don't want the elite to solve our problems. The people should be listing their problems and then solving their own problems, right?
Well, here's the thing, George. What's unique about what you just said is the fact that we have AI, right? And with artificial intelligence, you literally can really create and solve your own problems. Literally, by literally writing them down and then sitting and going over these with these intelligent language models and all of your issues, and it will give you 10, 15, 20, 30 options, and even how to execute them, even the resources, the way to talk to them, the people, the contacts that you need, how to contact them. It's like a genie in a box. Seriously. And we can stick with just the facts.
Well, that's good, because we are going to use the best minds, and we're going to use artificial intelligence to help us solve all these issues. And of course, you're one of the renowned experts in this country on AI, because you're studying it probably morning, noon, and night, right, Joanne?
Yes, I am. And I am super excited to work on it 18 hours a day. I read about it. I go over all the different platforms, and I'm still learning every day. And also working on organoid intelligence, which is a whole nother avenue where we can take stem cells and allow them to be conscious and to do research on these stem cells, which will allow us to stop having to do human testing and animal testing, because now we can do it on the organoids. So there's so many things available with where we are in society right now. It's like the best time ever. It's the best day ever every day.
That's right. Now, okay, I'm going to get into our action plan for the Founders League. Okay, number one, here's the first step. We're going to build a podcast called Just the Facts into a national phenomena. We're going to use crowdfunding to raise $50,000 and create a database and a following of initial people. And all those initial people are going to be part of our movement to become the frontal movement to solve all the issues that we're dealing with in our country today. We don't want to leave it up to politicians, to rich people, the people that are out of touch. We're going to bring the people together and use AI and the best brains, and we're going to make it happen. The second step is to list all the major issues facing this country, as I said. The third step is to recruit the best minds plus AI, and then we're going to have our database of all these Americans that are coming along with us in the movement, and that'll provide solutions. And the fourth step, now this one is really wild. Okay, you ready for this one, Joanne?
I'm ready.
Okay,
ready.
Our group of people, once we build a big enough database, and we're going to have a group of people called the best of the best minds, we're going to run for president in 2028 as a group, not as a person.
I love it.
Okay, we want the people to be the ones that are putting the solutions together, and we want the politicians to work for us. We don't want to work for them. We want them to work for us, and we're going to put the platform together.
I love that. That sounds phenomenal. I'm interested to see how we're going to make a decision, because it's hard to make a decision with just two people. A little alone, a billion. So I'm interested to see how we're going to make that one work.
Well, it's kind of like an open forum where we're going to list everything up to point, and then we're going to get input from everybody that is involved with us, our database of all Americans. And then we're going to massage the information. And then if anybody has good ideas or better ideas, we're going to massage it and manipulate it. So it's going to be an open forum. It's not just one person or just 10 people. It's going to be everybody can have their input. And then with AI, we can massage the data and come up with the best solution. How's that sound?
I love it. Just like I love that we're being able to take 7 different tests and match people up with 90% compatibility. I mean, technology is phenomenal.
Exactly. And you're on the forefront of that, of course. Now, here's the problems that we're facing with most institutions and the government. They have the following issues that we have to address. An accountability issue. Our leaders are not accountable anymore. They're all getting away with murder. And in some cases, they're actually getting away with murder. But there's no accountability with our leaders anymore. Competency for their jobs. Did you know, Joanne, do you know how much it costs to train one Navy SEAL?
No.
$1 million. You know how much it costs to train one astronaut? $25 million. You know how much it costs to train a mayor?
How much?
0. Our mayors, our senators, our congressmen, presidents, none of these people are trained for their jobs. Is that crazy?
Wow, that's interesting, George. I did not know that.
That's right. The only thing that gets them their positions is they buy their jobs through lobbyists and people that donate money. You cannot run for any position unless you have a lot of money, correct?
Correct.
So how do we have a democracy? That's not a democracy. Anyway, okay, training and qualifications. Not only do they have to be trained before they take an elected official's position, but they have to qualify. You know how long it takes an attorney to, first of all, they have to go to school. I think they have to get an MBA, and then they have to take the law test or whatever they call that. And I know most of the people have to take that test 2 and 3 times before they pass it. What is it? To become an attorney? I forget the name of that.
The bar exam.
The bar exam.
Yeah. The bar.
So think about that.
In California, you don't even have to go to school. You can literally just take the test, and if you pass the test, then you're an attorney.
Really?
And it's the only state that you don't have.
At least that's something right there. You have to educate yourself and take a test. But our elected officials don't have to know anything. No. I mean, think about it. That's crazy. Okay, how about morals, values, and ethics are lost with our leaders and institutions? How about insider trading? Don't you think that almost every one of our elected officials are doing insider trading and nobody's auditing or making them accountable? How about nepotism? Conflicts of interest. Oh my God, every day there's conflicts of interest going on. How's that happening? That's crazy. And then lying, gaslighting, cheating. And then most of our leaders and politicians and people that we look to, the news media, nobody is fact-based.
Oh, yeah, because it was, I forget when it was taken out, but that was taken out of the law.
I mean, it's just terrible. So, and then most people that have positions are enriching themselves by taking advantage of their positions, which is the ultimate worst of the worst. So there you go. Okay. Now what are we going to do to solve this? League, the Just the Facts podcast, and we're going to make America better. And you know what? The number one thing we're going to focus on are the kids of America. The kids of America deserve better than they're getting.
We're going to make America.
Yeah, you have a bunch of them, right?
Oh, yeah. And I have a bunch of grandbabies too. So
yeah, so do I. In fact, that's the reason I'm doing this movement, is because when I look at my kids, my grandkids and great grandkids, I cry sometimes thinking about what their future is going to be like. So what I want to do is I want to make America better, not for me, but for my kids.
Well, yes, for me, I want to, especially being part of the transhumanism party and understanding the fact that I'm going to be able to live for 500 years, since age is a disease process. I'm ready for them to release all this information that they have. And for me, I'm ready to make it great for great, 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 great grandkids.
Okay. Well, you know, you and I are both on the same track here. We're we're not trying to get rich and have yachts and big fancy homes and so forth. All we want to do is, again, make life better for our kids and grandkids and great grandkids, and that's it. So
exactly. And we'll have, and do, I feel like doing all that will, the wealth continues to come. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the law of numbers, you know, so it's not your purpose. Your purpose, hopefully, well, we know our purpose is to make, you know, to be able to provide opportunities, to empower people, right? Because you only can make decisions coming from what you know. So
right.
that's why I always say, when you know better, you do better.
Exactly. No, I like that phrase. And we're also going to eliminate, or not eliminate, but we're going to reduce the religious beliefs, prejudice, stereotyping, blaming others that adversely affect our lives. We got to get rid of all that. We don't want to pick on anybody. We don't want to be negative about anything or anybody. What we want to do is make it better. That's the key. Make it better for everybody. So opinions, ideas, advice, news, discussions are worthless without being backed by facts, right?
Well, George, I want to speak a little bit on that. You know, when we talk about that, it sounds good. But to conceptualize it would mean that we need to remove all labels and only judge from the feeling that we feel. Because if we separate ourselves, because I'm a man and you're a woman, I'm a woman and you're a man, oh Lord, or because I have blonde hair and you have brown hair, you know, all of these things are just ways to divide. And eventually we get it to where nobody can get along, and nobody can make any decisions because we've isolated everyone down to one individual instead of a group, a unity. And I'm always explaining these kind of concepts, especially to my children, that divided we are one, together we are a bunch, and we're a lot stronger. So when you remove the labels that society puts on to control us, then you can see things differently.
Exactly. No, that's well said. And that's what we want to do. We want to just get people, okay? Let's just call us all people, and we all want to make our lives better. And that's basically it. So we need a major culture change to bring back families, morals, values, ethics, etiquette, and respect for each other. The big thing we're lacking in this country now, it seems to be respect. Even for ourselves, people don't even respect themselves. They don't take care of themselves. I mean, you know, what's the percentage of people that are overweight in this country now? 60%, 70? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll provide the facts. But stuff like that, people should know. We need to know these things.
Well, I think that's really important, you know, because again, you can only do and are held accountable for what you know, right? And so making these things an issue, talking to people, making an awareness, you know, and for me, I say this forever and I'm always going to continue, you know, we hold the key because we have no limitation. The only limitation is the limits that we put upon ourselves. In this world, everyone has an abundance. It's, do you know how to tap into your resources? Because they're all here. It's just, do you know how to utilize them or not?
Well, and the other thing too is I'm a big advocate of training, not education. Education is worthless without implementation. So in order to be skilled at something, you got to train yourself. Like, for example, I call myself the ultimate networker. And the reason is because I trained myself to be an expert at networking, both social and business. Most people that I know, when I go out to networking events, 85 to 90% of people, again, just the facts, are poor networkers. So there you go. So how many people know that? In fact, when you go to a networking event, wouldn't you say that number is about accurate? 85 to 90% of people, they don't know how to exchange contact information. They don't follow up. They don't follow through. And they just waste their time.
Well, it depends. A lot of times I feel like after going to so many conferences and so many networking events, because it's just natural to me and I engage with it and love it, I feel like a lot of the people that are there are just there more for a social gathering, not really networking.
Well, and I think a lot of the reason is it's more social because they don't know how to network.
Yes.
Because when you go to a networking event, in most cases, it's a job. You should look at that as you're going there for your job, not to get away from the office. So it's critical you train yourself how to be a good salesman, how to be a good networker. In
Well,
fact,
how to communicate.
how about being a mother? How about being a father? How about being a husband? Are we trained in any of these things?
No, no,
No.
no.
So what do you expect? Now, if you're going to be a professional football player, they have coaches and trainers 24/7, right?
Yes.
But
That's important.
we get married and we have kids, and who's training us? Nobody.
Yeah. We don't come with handbooks.
We should, well, we got to give a handbook to, in fact, before people get married, they should probably should spend a year in training.
And not only that, but it should be mandatory to live together for a year, because you can really tell in a week's time if you like somebody after living with them.
I mean, there's all these things like we're talking about that need to be addressed in our culture. We need to come up with new parameters, new requirements, and so forth. Again, to make America better, right? It's really good now, but we got to make things better, and that's our whole mantra. So, anyway, I think it's exciting, and remember, folks, the new podcast is going to be called Just the Facts. And we're the Founders League. We are a database of people from all around the nation that are going to come together, and we're going to use our brains and AI to solve all the issues, or at least come up with solutions to all the issues. And then we're going to take the next step, and we're going to run for office in 2028, and we will become overwhelmingly the best of the best. And people won't be able to deny our platform and our policies because no one else is going to have the kind of brain trust we have.
Well, I love it. And the organoid intelligence just goes right along with all of this. So that's there you have it, folks. JC Coffey with 411 Business here with George Dubec, the ultimate networker. And we're here to give everyone a voice and to make America better. We won't say great again, but we'll say better. And go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel and follow us for this amazing podcast.
All right. Thank you, JC. It was great being on your show.